Okay, so there's been quite a few warmer days. I haven't been out in the salt much, so I'm not really dialed in, but actually water's a lot colder than I thought it was going to be after several days of, you know, 60s. I'm reading 48 degrees this morning. I was like, oh, I should go fish shallow because it warmed up shallow. It's what happens when you're not dialed in. You take some time off and it's like you might know spots and all that stuff, but man, if you're not having a little bit of your finger on the pulse of the bike, sometimes it's easy to screw up. I mean, I know there's a couple areas where I'm gonna find some fish, but you know, I just picked something casual where I'm gonna have it probably all to myself. Hopefully I can find something here. I'm not very confident when the water is dirty, which it very often is in many areas in the winter, and then it's in the low 50s, high 40s. All right, let's try this. I don't know. All right, well, worked the other day. Let's see if we get bit on a drop shot here. We'll work this creek mouth ledge first. Let's see what happens. Ooh, we got a fish. Drop shotting, baby. Heck yeah. All right. Like sitting around just looking at otters come jump into the river. All right. Man, it's been a slow first 30 minutes, but I'm glad I caught a fish, honestly. That's a red drum. Probably a lower slot, but I'm not keeping them from here. So let's let him go. All right, this is the same drop shot rig from the last video. That fish was in 14 feet of water, and that's kind of the move I'm trying to mess with here. Can I drop shot a bunch of reds, just stripers, whatever I drop shot? All right, just kind of drifting around and being a Guggen. And I think we've unlocked a new Guggen trick for the winter months. Just dropping this thing down to the bottom and doing a little twitch here and there. Pretty subtle presentation, nothing too heavy. Trying to fish the edge of the fast water and the slow water here. That's the move. Not marking that many fish, honestly. So I'm like, I don't know. But, all right, let's try this bank right here, and then we're gonna move on to a different area. Gotta see a few fish here. Ooh. Saw this fish on that brush pile, I think. That's working, man. That's a nice one for the winter. I mean, sorry, not for the winter. There are plenty of nice ones in the winter around. It's a nice one for 48. I'm playing this by that 48 card today. That is a nice one, man. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh. See, I think a lot of reds do hang out in heavy currents in the winter, because I've caught some really good sized fish in like 52, 53 degree water, and they start to get hard without bait at a certain point. So I don't know, just think of it this way, kind of like largemouth bass, you know, there's largemouth bass that go deep, there's largemouth bass that go shallow all winter. So I think there's reds that are shallow, deep, all that stuff all winter. That's a great fish. Wow, that was awesome. So my rig consists of 12-pound test. Uh-oh, I tangled my rig up though. Here we go. Yeah, so my rig just consists of 12-pound test. I forgot the name of this knot. It's like the one I learned on, you know, for quick tying. It's a number 2 owner hook. It's an 1/8 ounce sinker. Yeah, 12-pound test, so really light. And that fish was up there on that bank. So this is on a little 10-pound, like really light tackle stuff. So, all right, that's cool. And I'm just trying to, I'm not really jigging it much. I'm like just little wiggles, ice fishing basically. Just gonna hook them right once again through there. This is a 3-inch gulp minnow. I mean, I've got other gulps with me there. So let's just drop that there. And yeah, I guess he was somewhere around there. But let's just drift it, see. These fish will move around a bunch. So let me think, I think this should work. Ooh, I found them. They are stacked up here. I think I did at least. That's fun, just finding them on your own. Oh man, these are nice fish for the winter time up here. Oh man, that is cool. That is cool. We got to take it real easy on this rig, because I can bust it off real easily. Look at that cool fish there. Oh man. Thanks for joining me on a brisk winter day. This is a lot of fun. Sometimes you find these fish in the winter, you're on them though. Look at that cool pattern this guy's got. Yeah, that is important. You can't lie about that. But these are great sized fish to catch all winter, man. Oh, drop shotting. What a kook. All right, pal. This bank is good for reds. Just got a little bit of current, just a little bit. And I'm trying to stay out of that tree structure that's up there. Kind of want to see if I can get a trout or a striper doing this too, and then mix the other things. Definitely some structure down there. Tree. I don't know if there's a couple more fish. What I'm looking at here, might be a few more fish here. Oh, there is. Had him. See him on the sonar right there. 1 or 2. Very faint lines. This is a smaller one. The red. Okay. The good thing about this drop shot though is this is unfamiliar territory to me, right? So I don't know how snaggy. See, a lot of these creeks have old cypress trees in them and they're really evil. So just going drop shotting, it's gonna be spending less time retying until you familiarize yourself with an area. Because a lot of these creeks are like this. They're absolutely loaded with debris. So they're kind of intimidating, but going drop shotting does make it a little easier, at least to not lose everything left and right. I ate my words right there, but I got it back out. See, it's important too. So I know there's a tree there, so I gotta just kind of walk it back this way. Right there, I'm gonna get hung. Hey, 5 fish in less than an hour. It's not too bad. In unfamiliar territory on top of that, so hey. Stick with this. I made a mistake 2 weeks ago. I left fish to find fish. I was like, well, I caught a bunch of reds, let me go find stripers. So today, since I found reds, I'm staying with reds. Sorry guys. No, diversity makes a more fun video, but this is dead of winter with dirty water. It is foolish to leave an area that's producing fish. I guess that strike zone might not be that large. It could just be this little stretch right here. You know, these fish are probably packed in to school of 10, 15, maybe more. These gulp minnows were getting thumped the minute it was getting down there. It seems like the swimming mullet's not getting as many hits, so. Yeah, see, I'm definitely getting pulled into some of this structure with it. So the drop shots, I would have gotten hung up just there. I know I would have definitely just gotten hung up there if I was just trying to jig on the bottom without the drop shot. All right, let's keep working our way down this creek. I'll come back here before I go home, obviously. See if I can pick up a couple more fish there, but that was 4 fish on that. It's not bad. So let me just keep drifting with this drop shot. Got another 1/4 mile I can drift down. Maybe I'll pick them up. Those fish can move too. That's the other thing. That, you know, they might have been there for a couple drifts. And then that school's gonna just keep floating around the tide. I really rigged up too today to fish shallow. I got like a Savage Gear shrimp, a Zoom fluke behind me. There's been a bunch of warm days, so I just assumed that I was probably gonna have a better option of fishing shallow stuff. Now I'm seeing just 49 degrees, what my water temp's getting up to. Yeah, I don't know about shallows. This bank looks like it's moving really fast right here, and there's a tree sticking out, so that's not good. Not this time of year. I want to avoid that kind of stuff. Maybe striped bass would be good on that, but all the other stuff, I don't think so. Finally lost one there. All right, and here's the dumb thing. I just broke that off. I literally grabbed the rod from the last trip I did, and I don't think I have any more drop shot hooks. I think I unpacked them as I was as I was getting ready for today, because I didn't think I'd really drop shot much. Because as I said, I thought I was gonna fish shallow. So let's see if I have any hooks. All right, I don't have any hooks packed, so I'm gonna do this. Well, probably what I'm gonna say is the more expensive way. I'm gonna do it with the jigs then. So I got a 1/4 ounce jig head here. This is a Zoom fluke. Let's see, you know, caught 5 fish with the drop shot. If that's the end of the video and I'm not catching anything jigging, all right, now we know. So I guess we got the control done, right? Or the experiment. That was a good start for 1 hour of fishing, in my opinion, in the winter with 48-degree water. So now I'm gonna go with more how I typically fish, like a kook, putting lures on the bottom. And let's see if I can do anything with that. That was only my first time trying that technique in saltwater, so I guess we gotta revisit it. Man, this place is evil. As soon as you get real close to that shoreline, it's over. Wow. See, the drop shot already wins because I spent probably 20 minutes retying just now. Well, I only lost 1 drop shot, and I'm down maybe 3 jig heads now. So, in terms of the amount of time I'm in the water actively fishing this sort of stuff, it makes a difference. Now, we didn't see a striper, and if I start seeing stripers jigging, then we know it's a totally different game. Ooh, we got one. Zoom fluke. Took me a minute. Smaller red. Oh, there is one. Just spot out here. All right, that's the first one on just a naked jig. As in, you know, not a fancy rigged one. Take a couple casts. I think I've identified where I'm going to definitely snag up, and then we'll try to avoid that. That's why I shouldn't have casted. Oh man, this is what actually happens when you fish these heavier structures and you just don't know what you're doing. First time exploring them. You gotta have a little bit of patience because you're gonna hang up a lot. Okay. Ooh, this fish woke up. That was a pretty soft take. That's a better one. This is hard, man, because there's a lot of shit down there. I'm on a 1/4 ounce jig head. Look at the nasty scar on this one. A lot of these fish get beat up by dolphins this time of year, amongst other things, but maybe you can see that little scar on this red drum right there. But yeah. Couple feet off, I'm in like 16, 17 feet of water, not getting a bite. A couple feet too close to this bank. It's over. This is what I like to do in the winter, man. I get skunked a bunch doing this, but then eventually I'll get a couple cool little tricks in these sorts of creek environments. You know, I learn a lot doing this stuff too. I definitely do. Got a nice fish under me right now. He's looking at my jig. Didn't strike it though. Another scar on this one too. Could be water quality related too. That wouldn't surprise me. The current picks up at this tree. That's probably the end of my bite zone, I guess, whatever you want to call it. You can see where that current picks up. It's right there. So I won't be surprised to get one more bite here right before I get into that last tree there. Yep. All right, so now I'm starting to get more hits on the jig after figuring it out a little bit. I almost want to go to a larger profile to weed out some of these smaller guys. Another thing that's going through my head. Try a little bit of a bigger profile. This is a 6-inch whiptail shad. Another larger profile for sure. No striper in the mix, so I would think I'd be seeing one or two of those guys, but okay. There we go. Let's see if going bigger makes a difference. That's what I'm really curious about. Yeah, you want to know what I got? Going bigger? That's kind of funny. It's funny to pick up these little nuances. So I went to a 6-inch profile, far larger than what I was using before. And white. Yep. So kind of the darker, earthier colors. As soon as I went to this larger profile, first striped bass in the mix with all those reds. Not a big one, but there you go. The minute that tide picks up again, I'm kind of out of the zone. So let me stick with the bigger profiles, you know. I think that'll be more interesting. We'll just, versus, you know, really doing a number on the reds. I think I'll have a better chance of seeing a, you know, 30-inch striper on a big profile, or the larger reds, you know. So let's stick with that for a minute. Getting a lot of those small reds to still hit my jig, but they're falling off a lot. They're not really sticking because it's a little bit big. Yeah, it's that tree. That tree seems to be the end of the bite. There's a nice hump here. I'm like kind of doing this drift over and over a little longer than I probably should, because this one hump I'm going over just tells me it's like there should be a couple of fish on this hump. They're not there. Got a couple fish under me right now. Much bigger fish. Red. Yeah. All right, better red. Nice blue color on his tail. Having a great time out here doing this. Let's try to slightly change my drift here. I'm gonna run up a little bit further. The current got fast in this stretch out of nowhere. It was pretty slow, and then as soon as it got fast, I stopped kind of getting bites. So okay, so I got these jigs too. Let's give these a try too. These are called barefoot jigs. Not sure what's popping there in the grass. That could be reds. Buddy Tim reached out to me and gave me a bunch of these. Show me the action on them. They sit perfectly horizontal when in the water when you use them. So I'm gonna give these a try. I'm gonna use a loop knot on these though. Could be a gator waking up in the woods there. Tim, I'm sorry if I feed these all your jigs to these trees right now. I do apologize in advance. But all right, so with the shrimp, I'm gonna use the shrimp Procure. Let's see how this looks in the water. Well, we don't have the clarity. I do like it. It sits pretty flat. Oh, yes, it did. There it is. Nice. Nice one on the shrimp. All right, and these jigs are local right here in Wilmington. Thanks, Tim. I like them. That is a nice one. Ooh. He came off. Lost that one. Sorry, Tim. I lost that one and then immediately dropped into this tree. Gonna be knocking for more jigs before you know it. Didn't mean to do that. All right, let's try that again. Give it a little pink stuff, a little pink jig too. All right, let me run up just a little bit here. This bite's probably gonna turn off as the tide changes or whatever. So I like to spot lock when I hook up and then let go spot lock so I can resume my drift. Got a fish under me right here. Nicer fish here. Probably the biggest of the day, actually. Great fishing today. A couple of fish behind that one too, I think. It's a fish. I'm not sure these days. Spot locked here because it's real bad right behind me, but oh man, what a nice red. It's real evil right behind me. It's gonna go biggest of the day, I think, right there, huh? Good move going to those bigger profiles, I think. All right. Okay, and that one. Nice fish there. Yeah, there's a small zone where I'm not hanging up. If I cast on the bank, I'm going to hang up. But here you see I'm in 17 feet of water. It's pretty forgiving. Get real close to the bank, I'm going to hang, and right behind me, I guess there's part of this tree in the water. Sucks there's going to be like 100 inches of rain coming again. Finally had a few days where it hasn't rained much and went to try it. Oh, there's one. Real quick fight on them this time of year, huh? Had probably 4 or 5 hits on that drift, and that was the only one that stuck, so. Happenstance had that drop shot rig tied on. And I just drifted along those trees. You know, maybe if I was just jigging there and snagging up, I would have been moving on. I don't know. I don't really fish here too often, so I'm, you know, not too familiar with what I'm doing. Got 4 or 5 reds on the drop shot. As soon as I lost that last one, I went to the jigs. It actually took me a little while to get acclimated how to catch them on the jigs there, because of how bad the structure actually was and what depth and how close to the structure to be fishing. A lot of that always requires experimentation. Mostly reds, just 1 striped bass today. Chain bad, you know, kind of like both of them, but used a lot of different jig heads today. A lot of different profiles, so check the video's description for links, everything used. I'll put a link of them. I fished on the setup that's a Daiwa Fuego LT 2500. There's 10-pound braid on there, 12-pound leader to a loop knot. These jig heads sit flat in the water with your plastic, which is cool. And that's that Jigging World Night Ranger. The drop shot setup has a Shimano Spheros 3000 with 10-pound braid on it too. These fish don't fight as hard in this cooler water, so you can get away with a little bit lighter tackle. So, the kayak I'm using, this is the Old Town Autopilot. I have a 100 amp hour Dakota lithium battery on it. I did mention that sometimes natural drifting is a little easier in these sorts of situations sometimes, but still, that was great fishing. Even though I had to kind of fiddle with the remote to get the right drift a lot of the time. Every time I casted, most of the time I hung up. So it's definitely for me, at least, vertical jigging that 15-foot zone. And I did notice the fish kind of started reacting a little bit as I was getting through certain areas over and over again. So even though you're in a kayak, 10 feet of water, you create a lot of, you have a big presence, right? So those fish will know that you're there pretty quickly. So, all right, well, let me get out of here. Guys, thanks for watching. Catch you with you on the next video.